as far as, I guess for me personally, when I look at like an opportunity, I'm kind of more so looking at what are the hunts that I can do minimal investment on, even if it is with points. So maybe 1 or 2 points that I can get into and hunt often. So like Montana is a perfect example of that. Not only, let alone Montana tags still being somewhat easy to draw, but when you get in there, that general tag's good for 11 weeks a season. And you can go all over the state. So, I mean, ideally, if I went home, you know, I have that combo tag, I go hunt the west side of the state for elk, you know, stuff that I know and I like, and then I head out east and go hunt deer, and I got that flexibility to kind of move all over the place.
One of the great things that I like about, you know, 2 states in particular, Wyoming and Montana, you draw those tags, you know, you get the archery hunt if you want to buy the archery stamp in both states, a little bit more expensive in Wyoming, but still a really cool opportunity. And then, you know, if you don't fill your tag, you can actually return and hunt with a rifle, which is awesome. You know, you've got, I mean, that season in Montana is so long.
Tons, yeah.
Yep. So what's nice about that, you can fit it in with other things too.
Yeah.
Like if you have some other archery tag you do in September, you could just come back from Montana on the rifle hunt.
So Montana, Brady went on a hunt last year, right?
Yep.
In Montana. You hunted antelope up there with a bow? Is that still a good opportunity?
I would consider that 100% an opportunity hunt.
How does that work?
The great thing is you still have to apply for it, but it's, you know, when you do like the 920 tag opportunity, you're talking about the whole entire state
That
of Montana.
900 tag is so, it's something I didn't take advantage of near enough when I lived in Montana. I mean, as
It was always my favorite hunt in Montana.
you're hunting a month and a half before anybody else is in the field, and you can hunt every unit in the state except for 2.
So you're hunting the top trophy units for rifle, you can hunt them with a bow. Like no one goes out there and hunts antelope for the most part during that time of year, so the competition's minimum. You can bounce around units. Like this year when Neville and I went up there, I think we hunted like 5 or 6 hunt districts. We just were bouncing around, like traveling roads, glassing them. Didn't find any antelope there, left to go to somewhere else. And a lot of times they have, you know, those tags are left over afterwards.
That tag for residents is pretty much, it's guaranteed, Dan.
What's it like for a non-resident?
Non-residents, it's pretty much like every other year at least you're going to get it, if not every year.
And it's allocated on a bonus point.
Bonus points, yeah, so it's still like a random, you know, with a bonus point weight on it. But yeah, incredible odds, and that tag is, you know, it's cheap, it's highly usable. It's actually, the odds of success on it are pretty good. Like antelope's a pretty low pressure hunt to plan out, the logistics of completing it, doing it. You know, it's a pretty easy hunt to get into comparatively to a lot of other hunts, and this is one you can do every year.
Yeah, Utah's not a state that you typically make the relationship between opportunity and hunting, right?
Far between.
I think most people consider Utah a state for giant bull elk and, you know, big bucks and, you know, once in a lifetime species like moose, sheep, goat, or bison. You know, the odds on those species are extremely long, but Utah still has some pretty decent opportunity. Brandon, you like to hunt spikes?
That's become the family hunt in Utah. Whereas 10 years ago, the general deer tag was the family hunt. Everybody had a general deer tag, you know, 10, 15 years ago. And so I'm going to throw, you know, we talk about a spike hunt because that's what we all do here.
Right.
But on the flip side of that, the any bull hunt as well. Those are basically the same tag. You know, there's a quota, you know, X number of tags are going to get sold every year. But that is the opportunity hunt for Utah residents, Utah non-residents. So yeah, when that comes to mind, that's something that I buy every year. Just so, like I say, it's a family hunt. I can take my 4-year-old on it, and if I don't kill one, great. If I do, even better.
Right.
So.
You know, I don't know if a lot of people know, but the archery permits are available over the counter. They're unlimited. If you buy the archery permit, you can hunt either the any bull or the spike units. You're not limited to one or the other. You can hunt anywhere you feel like. And then the other great thing is you can harvest either a cow or a spike. So I actually think that's probably one of the, when you like consider, you know, the opportunity to hunt Utah for big bulls is so slim. The opportunity to come out, I feel like I'm saying opportunity a lot. I'm over that. I'm gonna use chance.
Yeah.
So the chance to come to Utah and hunt some of the best elk units in the West with your bow and harvest either a cow or a spike, I think is fantastic.
But you're out there hunting.
Yeah.
You're learning about your gear. You're learning about how to backpack hunt. You're learning what works and what doesn't.
You know, Brady and I just got back from hunting deer in Arizona, which I think that hunt's definitely catching on. But if you buy that permit in January. You go down and you hunt with your bow. If you don't harvest, you can actually return because there's seasons that are open in August, and then there's seasons that are open in December. So you actually get the opportunity. You could hunt 3 different seasons in the same year on the same permit until you fill your tag. So I would be interested in like hearing your take on what are some of the challenges to hunting those types of hunts. So like how do you find success?
I'd say staying flexible. Like my first hunt in Colorado, first light hits, it's just a sea of orange hats all over the place. And I mean, we spun our wheels for a couple days trying to figure out like how do we accommodate this? And how do you hunt it? And I think a lot of it's just staying flexible in your approaches.
I always call it, you got to like hunt the hunters.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Basically are figuring out where the pressure is in certain areas, and over like the course of 2 days you can figure out, okay, these are where a lot of these guys are camping, or these are where a lot of guys are hunting. Either use that to your advantage and figure out where these deer keep moving through, or you'll see like these guys aren't going back here for whatever reason. I'm not seeing any orange. Is that because there's just a barrier of entry? So I also use the barrier of entry because all the guys might be here because it's easy access.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of guys there, go somewhere else and get away from that orange army.
I think you can be strategic in when you hunt.
Yeah.
Middle of the week, like the majority of the deer, any opportunity hunt I've hunted, the majority of the animals that I harvest are middle of the week.
A lot of people I talk to, one of the first questions that they'll ask me is, what's the hunting pressure like in that unit? And if they feel like it's too high or above their threshold, it makes them really uncomfortable. I mean, the spike hunt, for example, I mean, that's an over-the-counter permit here in Utah. If anybody's ever done it, if you haven't, plan on seeing a lot of people.
If I take that hunt serious, I'm going to be in where I need to be well before light. I knew, so the last spike hunt, Dave and I hunted the same area, the last spike hunt. I was the first shot of the day. Yeah. So I was in there early, was set up, I was quiet, spike fit out of the canyon, I killed it. Just because we're talking about a, quote, opportunity hunt, something you can do, it doesn't mean that it's not a good hunt. Yeah. Like, particularly, we talk about the spike hunt, yeah, you're only going to kill spike, but if you take that same strategy to an any bull unit in Utah, you can find that hunting hole. I know a handful of guys that are killing 340 bulls every year on the any bull unit. To me, Colorado is the king of opportunity. Yeah. They have 3 seasons that they just sell permits for. I know a handful of people that are using Colorado to kill great bulls with that opportunity. So when we're saying opportunity, we're not saying that just that it's one or the other. You can definitely have both. You can have a good hunt that is opportunity. Right. You can have an opportunity hunt that's not that great a hunt.
And you can have great hunts that turn out to be bad hunts too. There's a lot of subjectivity to it.
I think you make a great point. There are a lot of opportunity hunts. Colorado, for example, OTC second, third rifle season, over-the-counter archery. I mean, I did an archery hunt this year, which I would consider an opportunity hunt. It was over-the-counter in Colorado. We had a great hunt. But you do have to be prepared to do the things that it takes to find success.
And I'd rather hunt more than sit on the bench and build points. Like if you are a person who wants that experience and not have a bunch of people impact your hunts, there's ways to get around it. I mean, like even for planning like a second, third season Colorado hunt, you can take into account how many hunters are surveyed for those over-the-counter elk units and try to figure out, hey, is there going to be a lot of elk hunters in this unit because that might impact your deer hunt? You can kind of look at those numbers and try to figure out the popularity.
Those statistics are all available in your insider accounts. I mean, when you pull up those unit profiles, I mean, all that information is lined out for you in a way that I think is really easy to process and look at. I've been looking at the application strategy article, building those, writing them, I guess you'd say, for Colorado. There was some change for their reallocation process this year.
They've changed it over the last few years, but the most recent, so last year, we'll use last year for example, what would happen if someone turned a tag back in or they didn't allocate a tag? They had the second draw. They added that last year. So you have the second draw.
And anybody could apply for that, right?
Yep. Anybody, even if you didn't apply.
Even if you didn't apply in the first draw, as long as you brought that qualifying license, you could still apply, right?
They've still got that. In fact, they've added a turkey tag to the qualifying license for that second draw. But after that, after all said and done, say that people, every year people turn tags back in that they drew. This year what they're going to do is on every Wednesday at 11, they will load those tags in. Okay. Or they'll load those tags in on Tuesday at 11. You'll be able to preview them
look at them,
for 24 hours. And then on Wednesday at 11, you get mad dash.
Exciting. I like it.
Yeah, that's why I mixed. Is I think it's going to be exciting, but it's going to be. I do think it's I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about this the first couple times we did this, about having a multi-state strategy, you know, to kind of defeat point creep, if you will, or deal with point creep. In the same sense, I mean, if you're looking at picking up permits, opportunity type of permits, again, I think you've got to explore all the different options that are available to you, whether it's a secondary draw, a leftover draw in Wyoming. I know last year I didn't draw an elk tag, and the first draw, they have a secondary draw. There were some permits for a unit that I was really, you know, I would have been really excited to draw that would have been, you know, left over from the resident pool, right, that are now available to everybody in the secondary draw.
Colorado is, so the way they have their A, B, and C tag list, you can pick up a lot of elk tags in the state of Colorado. Yeah. If you can afford it and your back can handle it, you could have 2 or 3 tags in a particular unit, because they have the over-the-counter antlerless cow tag. It's a B tag. Well, then you could pick up your over-the-counter archery bull tag and have 2 elk tags, same unit. You know, you just have to work for it. So that's kind of why I say, in my opinion, Colorado's the king of opportunity.
Yeah.
Just because I think a lot of it is they just have the game population to support it. Whereas a lot of these other western states, you take Nevada, for example, is a complete opposite of an opportunity state.
Oregon, anything in Oregon for those?
There's opportunity in Oregon.
Lots and lots.
That they're general tags you can pick up. It's just kind of out of the way for what it is. Montana, for me, has been that same state. I'm not willing to drive through Wyoming. I'm not willing to drive through Idaho to hunt Montana.
Driving through a lot of good habitat.
You know, Oregon, Washington, they do definitely have a ton of opportunity. You talk about the Roosevelt elk on the coast. Because of where it's located, it's got to become a destination hunt. It's not something that it's not my Utah spike hunt.
Yeah, that's the big draw. Like, to either of those states for me, like personally, it'd be if I just wanted to go shoot a Rosie. But even then, like, I'm talking a 20-hour drive to get over there. And at this point, I'd rather hunt.
It's a species and it's a destination. It's a change in environment. Yeah. I mean, I kind of look at Arizona cruise deer like that a little bit.
You start talking opportunity, it all comes at a cost. There's, and I talk an actual cost. You start talking Alaska.
Yeah.
As far as permits go, you can put more permits in your pocket than you can physically hunt in the state of Alaska. You're talking 3 deer tags, a moose tag, caribou tag, like,
Black bear.
what is it going to cost you to do that? There. And so, again, you've got such a barrier of entry to get into that state, just logistically. Just getting there, there's a price tag plus a logistics cost. And so when, you know, the opportunity, you can't cut it out. The opportunity's not there. It just comes with a higher price.
The price tag. And arguably, it's the best opportunity.
Opportunity can mean different things to different people depending on what they're willing to put into the opportunity.
I get a lot of questions, Dave. I'm sure Brady, I guarantee you do. Combo hunts.
No.
Yeah. How do you
Don't do them.
Two points I'd like to make on that. One, I think guys just get spun out trying to hunt areas where they can hunt both species at the same time versus specifically focusing on one. So I usually tell guys, if you're going to do a combo hunt, decide what is your primary animal. The other one's the secondary. If you run across it or you kill and you have a couple days. The other thing is on a combo hunt like in Montana, if I was interested in making the most out of both of those tags, I'm going to hunt in totally different areas. I'm going to hunt 12 areas apart.
I don't discourage it. If you want to do it, that's great, but you have to have reasonable expectations. You have to pick a primary objective. So if your objective is to kill a mule deer or a elk, make that your objective and hunt elk, hunt mule deer. Yeah. If you inconsequentially run into the other species, great, but be prepared to eat that tag. Oh, yeah. And if it's okay, then great. It does look good. It looks really good. Yeah. I've never had a, what is it, a torta?
Torta.
Yeah.
Carne asada torta.